How's you guys going? It's the 8th week. I know you guys must be overwhelmed during this time of the quarter. I know I definitely feel that way myself. Coming home from school last Tuesday, I decided to make biscuits. Now, don't downplay my Jiffy Hot. I mean, to be exact, my Jiffy muffins. The hot, melt in your mouth, crispy and fluffy best side dish of the year that just took my mind off what I have to do later on that day. No need for directions. I knew exactly what to do. Everything went exactly the way I wanted until I took that first big bite and realized a biscuit is not a biscuit without butter or a complimentary entree to go with that. So instead, it is a ticking time bomb, slowly suffocating you until water is basically required for help before having to perform CPR resuscitation. And you know what? No one should have to suffer the humiliation of almost being choked to death by Jiffy. Something that could have easily been avoided if we all just took a stand against the current, somewhat overlooked, new persuasive stance on why putting butter on your biscuits is the only option you have of saving yourself. When we talk about Jiffy, humiliation of almost. So the solution of that will be to put butter on your buns. And if you don't put butter on your buns, that is just as evil as the wicked witch off of Snow White giving her what she believed to be a delicious red apple. Now, unaware of the risk, deceiving, delightful aromas of the driest mixes of flour and baking soda being given on any given day can be the biggest precautionary mistake anyone can ever make. And so, biggest precautionary mistake anyone could ever make. So, today in my speech, I'll be letting you know about the benefits. Oh no, it's the biggest precautionary mistake anyone could ever make, unless you have a medical condition which requires you to produce over excessive amounts of saliva, which in that case, I guess nobody has to worry about that guy. And so, today I will be telling you about the benefits of putting butter on your buns and the consequences of eating buttered biscuits. And by doing so, I will show you the significance of putting butter on your muffins, which is practically all the same thing. Sorry about that. It's practically the same thing. So according to Anna Nagini, a Healthy Kids blog editor, she wrote a post called Top 10 Choking Hazardous Foods for All Ages. And among that list were dry biscuits, quick bread. And so this shows you the importance that we have to know about putting butter on the biscuits. Now, I don't know if you guys ever had biscuits, so I decided to bring a couple in myself, just so y'all can get a feel for what a dry biscuit might taste like. But these is kind of good. I put some butter in there, so don't have to worry about it too much. Can you pass that around? Okay. Dry biscuit. So now imagine my grandma going to hometown buffet, one of her favorite places to eat, decides to make her own plate. Unaware of the biscuit that's on her plate, she forgets to lather it on the butter. Once she finally takes a big bite, she soon realizes the problem. Trying to make a desperate attempt to reach out for the glass of water, it spills because she has bad arthritis. But now the life alarms are signaling, and and now you know it's time for CPR. CPR, okay. Thank you. CPR. Sorry about that, guys. CPR. So, now that I told you some of the drawbacks of eating butter biscuits, now I will talk to you about the consequences of eating butter biscuits. And what is another surprising fact is, according to the National Council of Safety, choking-related incidents are the #1 eighth cause of deaths, incidental deaths in the world. And so, now that I told you about the negatives of eating dry biscuits, now I can go on to tell you about some of the benefits or setbacks of eating dry biscuits with butter on them. So, according to Henderson, the Rockies editor for Arkansas's second most unreliable news source, he goes on to explain that a guy goes into Red Lobster and eats 413 Red Lobster biscuits. Now, if anybody's ever had Red Lobster, they know that they're really good. And so what the dude did not notice was the same thing or the same ingredient that made these Red Lobster biscuits so tasty was the same thing that was blocking the signals from going to his head, telling his body that he had enough to eat. It was such a pleasurable experience. As you can tell, he looks happy. So, now that I told you about some of the negatives of dry biscuits and some of the positive setbacks of dry biscuits, I will go on to explain the significance of putting butter on your biscuits. So, to do this, I conducted a survey where I asked 100 people if they could eat 3 dry biscuits without butter. To my surprise, only one person was able to do this, and not to be judgmental, they had a heavy list. But, nevertheless, I went on with my survey and I noticed that the #1 thing people like to eat their biscuits with was butter, followed by gravy, jelly, and syrup. And so, now that you know what difference putting butter on your biscuits can make, I will finally conclude my persuasive stance on why putting butter on your biscuits is very needed. So to conclude my persuasive speech, I just wanted to let you guys know the next time you're in a bad mood and you decide to go home and you're hungry and you make biscuits, don't forget to put butter on your bun, because that can make the difference between being like this guy and having your whole day ruined. That was my speech, you guys.